the middleware and the key applications. Someone tell me quickly what is the middleware? Middleware? No one? Never heard of middleware? Okay. Forget about middleware. Let's take an example. Suppose if I want to buy a property, here in Sankeshwar, and I am new in Sankeshwar. What will I do? I will go and look for an agent who will help me in buying the property. So he is called the middleman. In the same way, a software which allows two components to communicate is called as middleware. So middleware is a piece of software which allows two softwares or a software and a hardware to communicate is called as middleware. So it's a collection of these three things. Now let's come to history of Android. Initially developed by Android Inc., whom Google financially backed and later purchased in 2005. So Android was not originally developed by Google. There was a group of students from a university. They had some innovative idea. So they started a company called as Android. But as a student, they are always short of money. So Google was financing them, funding their research. So they developed a software called as Android in their company called as Android. And later, in 2005, Google purchased that company. And then Android became property of Google. Android was unveiled in 2007 along with the founding of Open Handset Alliance, a consortium of 86 hardware, software and telecommunication companies devoted to advanced open standards for mobile devices. So what Google did is, instead of keeping the Android software with them, or instead of marketing this Android software as their own, they formed a group of companies. It was a group of 86 companies. And they give this Android software to this 86 companies, saying it is not my property now, it's not Google's property. It is the property of this group now, of 87 companies. These 87 companies include software companies, hardware companies, and all of them together is called as OHA, Open Handset Alliance. So today, Android is not the property of Google. Though Google is the key player, but Android belongs to your Open Handset Alliance or OHA. And OHA was formed to promote open handset standards or open software standards. Can anybody know what's the open standard? We just now discussed about open source. What's about open standard? We have heard about standard in the school days also. First standard, second standard, third standard. So open meaning we already know. So someone tell me what is the meaning of standard? No one? We have studied 10 years in school. Someone comes and says relative, no, which standard? This to proudly say, I am studying 8th standard, I am studying 10th standard. But no one asks what the meaning of 10th standard. Someone can know standard. Any wild guess? Yes, Malay, tell me louder. Yes, loudly. You're correct.
Versions.
Pardon me?
Versions, Android versions.
No, I'm not talking about Android version. I'm talking about in general English. Standard means what? Yes, a level or a benchmark is called as standard. Standard of nothing or something used to categorize it is called as standard. A category of people who has passed 9 standards are called as 10 standard students. A category of people who have passed first standard they are called as second standard students. It's a benchmark. So now open standard. Open standard means a standard free for all. In 10 standard, only those students can sit and study who has passed 9 standards. But imagine of a standard which is open for all. Even a first standard girl can attend class, even a PhD person can attend class. one such classroom where everyone can attend? Yes? Someone tell me, one classroom example where everyone can go and attend. There is no standard at all. No one? Please tell me, someone is telling me. You tell me. Any guess, why guess? How about graveyard? So open standard, right? Every time I sleep there. Or a place, for example, this session what will happen. It's open standard. Why? Because from all the semesters you are sitting here. Or one example, when you attend religious functions, you go and attend because pravachan. It's open standard. There's no condition saying you should be 10 pass for 10, you should first standard pass for 10. That is called as open standard. So here open standard means cell phone companies, they had maintained a closed standard. Closed standard means they had maintained a system that if you build a software for one cell phone, if I build a software for single cell phone, it will not work for other operating system. Not just that, if I am building a software for a cell phone of Nokia or Symbian, same software will not work on Samsung but Symbian operating system. That is closed standard. So what companies thought is now we should promote open standard where if I build a software, it should work on every Android cell phone, then whatever may be the hardware. That is nothing but device independent. People have learned Java, platform independent. Similarly, open standard is device independent. So to promote this organization was formed. And OHIP, Open Handset Alliance, is a combination of, as I said, 86 companies such as handset manufacturers, semiconductor companies, commercial companies, software companies, and mobile operators. So all those companies together joined hands, and now they are promoting this operating system called as Android. So if one company promotes software, there will be limitations. But if altogether 86 companies are promoting, then obviously we will grow in the market. Android based on Linux. Android is a mobile device platform based on Linux kernel 2.6 and Linux kernel 3.x. Android 4.0 onwards, with middleware libraries and APIs written in C. So Android operating system is developed on Linux kernel, Linux 2.6. People have learned Linux. Any basic idea about Linux? So can anyone know about this kernel? Linux kernel? Yes, I heard someone was right answer. Tell me. Yes, core operating system. As I told earlier, Android cell phone is not a cell phone. It is a computer. So therefore, what Android developers did is, instead of building the whole core operating system, core operating system is the heart of the operating system. Operating system usually has two parts. Number one, the core, that is the kernel, and number two, the GUI part. So GUI part didn't take from Linux, they took only the core part. Core part contains all the software which directly communicate with the hardware. Kernel is a collection of software to communicate with the hardware. Kernel will contain something called as display drivers, which will take care of the display. Kernel will contain something called as keyboard drivers, which will take care of the keyboard. So, as we all know, that Linux is one of the most powerful operating systems. At the same time, Linux is also open source, and therefore, say, instead of building a new kernel, just use which is already existing and tried and tested kernel, and therefore we use Linux kernel 2.6, and now it is changed to 3.x, the latest operating system of Android. Can anyone tell me which is the latest version of Android operating system? Yes, delivery 4.23. Yes, 4.3. The first commercially available phone to run Android was HTC being used in October 22nd, 2008. The first phone they rolled out was in 2008, which was HTC Green. Java for Android. Applications are developed in the Java language using Android software development kit. Now, unlike your computers, where if I want to build a software, I can use C language, I can use C++ language, I can use VB, .NET, Java. In the same way, if I want to build software for Android phone, I can use Java language. Now, people who have learned Java, tell me which company owns Java language? Java language belongs to which company? Or which company? Yes, no one has learned Java here. So which company owns Java language? No one? Sun Microsystems? Why not? Open complete purpose stores there. Java is the Sun Microsystems, right? Guys, say no one has learned Java here. Yes. Java was built by Sun Microsystems, but today Java is not owned by Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems is no more. Today Java is owned by Oracle. So Java is part of Oracle today, not Sun Microsystems. Okay, one more question out of the box. Someone tell me who built this language Java? James Gosling. That's right. James Gosling. Is James Gosling dead or alive? Dead or alive? Dead? Alive? Yes, of course, he is alive. He is not dead. Some years ago, he was in India also. He had come to Hyderabad. So, Java language is not a property of Sun Microsystems now. It is property of Oracle. But Android belongs to OHA and Oracle is not part of OHA. Then how can OHA or Google use Java language which belongs to other company? Any idea? See, people at least once in a week make a point, go to net or read some scientific journal, because all such questions will arise when you go for interview. Okay. What happens is, Java language is open source language. Open source means anyone can use it. So Google, without taking any permission or any consent from Oracle, they use Java language in their operating system. But Oracle is a commercial company. They became angry and they filed a lawsuit against Google. It's a big fight. Every day there's to be news in papers about this. That fight between Google and Oracle going on over the Java language. But finally, Google won the case. Google won the lawsuit. Court gave a proceeding saying, since Java language is an open source language, therefore you cannot say they cannot use our language. So therefore, Oracle has nothing to do with Android, but still we use Java language for Android. Android uses Dalvik virtual machine with just-in-time compilation to run Dalvik DX code, Dalvik executable, which is usually translated from Java bytecodes. You must know the other JVM, Java Virtual Machine, right? Java Virtual Machine is used to compile and execute your Java programs. In the same way, we have DVM, Dalvik Virtual Machine, used to compile and execute your Android Java programs or Android programs. And you have something called as DEX code or DX code. The way you have got exe files for your Windows operating system. In the same way, executable files for Android are called as DX files. Makes sense? library, Android runtime, application framework and applications. First coming to kernel. We have just now discussed about kernel. Kernel is the core part of your operating system. So in this kernel, we have something called as display drivers, camera drivers, Wi-Fi drivers, flash memory drivers, audio drivers, and so on. Can anyone tell me what is meant by driver now? What is meant by driver? Driver. Okay, wait one thing. Forget about this driver. In simple general English, what is a driver? If you have kids at home who goes to school, primary school, if you ask him, what is a driver? What will you answer them? I want the same answer from you. Now we cannot go back to school and ask the teacher now what is a driver. What's a driver? Yes, one who drives a vehicle or one who drives is called as a driver. That's right. So the word driver here also means the same thing. The one who drives the bus is called the bus driver. The one who drives a lorry is called a lorry driver. A one who drives auto is called as a auto driver. The one who drives your keyboard is called as keyboard driver. The one who drives your camera is called as camera driver. So all these technical words are no different from general English. They're exactly the same. So a driver is a piece of software which will drive any hardware or which will operate any hardware. So piece of software which operates all these hardware are called as drivers. You see, I will teach you one trick after answering a question. If someone asks you a question which you don't know, you don't have to sit blank. Try and relate it with day-to-day entities. As just now did, driver. It was a camera driver. We already know the meaning of camera, general English. Something which takes photos is called as camera. Driver, driver. One who drives is driver. Put them together. A driver who takes photos is called as camera driver. Or as we just now spoke, open standard. We already know the meaning of open, we know the meaning of standard. Join them together. You get a definition of it. And if you do this thing, if not 100%, at least 80 to 90% your question and answer will be right. Okay? Next slide. Next. Okay. Now, when we saw the architecture, at the top of the architecture, we have something called as application. Applications are softwares which run on the cell phone what we use in our day-to-day lives. That is, the email client, SMS programs, calendars, maps, browsers, and all such applications. So all these applications are written using Java language. So Android already has few built-in applications. Let's see what are applications of Windows are also called as applications of Android. Unlike other operating systems, all the applications in Android are built using purely Java language. That is, say for example, if you are using Windows operating system, in Windows operating system, you write programs using C language. You write programs using Visual Basic. You write programs using Java. But do you know what language Microsoft has used to write programs for maybe MS Word? Or maybe they have their settings there, like add more programs in your Windows operating system, or you have settings for sounds there. So all these programs, they are written in various different languages. One such as VC++. They have used Visual C++ to write all these applications. So, say for example, in my Windows operating system, there is a feature called as add remove programs, where I can install or uninstall the programs. Or there has a feature where you adjust the sound settings. Suppose I don't like this software of add no program. I want to modify. I cannot modify because number one, it's already closed, and number two, they have used various different kinds of languages to build it. So what convenience or what smartness Microsoft has done is, whatever software supplied to Microsoft has full support with their operating system. But software we build, software other companies provide, they have full support with the operating system. But in the Android, they wanted to make a standard. So what they have done is, may it be the company who is building Android operating system, or may it be developers like us. We all will use one single language to build all the applications, that is Java language. So in your Android operating system, if you are seeing the keypad, that keypad is built using Java. If you are seeing the camera is also built using Java language. And whatever privileges are given to those applications built by Android, same privileges are given to our applications also. So therefore, if I know Java language and if I don't like my cell phone's keypad, I can go like that. If I know Java language and if I want to change how my camera operates, I can do it. If my cell phone has given me camera with maybe 5x zoom or 10x zoom, I want to make 20x zoom. I can do that software, I can install my own software with 20x zoom. I don't like the way my SMS are displayed. If I know Java language, I can change them. And the context, you must have seen context in every cell phone. You don't like the context thing, you remove the context. You build your own context and put it there. And it has same privilege what is given the context built by Android. Next. Application framework. Enabling and simplifying the reuse of components. Developers have full access to the same framework APIs used by core applications. Users allowed to replace components. Yes. One very important framework in Android which is not present in any other operating system is this something called as application framework. Since the companies OFJ are promoting open standards, therefore they are promoting or what to say, asking for the developers to reuse the components. Reuse the components means components present in one software can be used in another software. Say for example, you must be using MS Word, Excel or PowerPoint, right? In PowerPoint, Excel and MS Word, you have a feature of, say, inserting a chart. Well, you use it, right? So, provide a chart, it shows the graph. Now, suppose I am building, as my final year project, I am building one software. Maybe I am building a software for some company. So, in that software, I want to have this feature of chart. I have to build it from the beginning. I cannot pick up the chart component from MS Word and put it there. It doesn't allow me. Can we do it? No, it doesn't. Say for example, now you are building a software where you want to use a calculator. Now you already have calculator features. In that, some features you want to pick up and put in your software. You cannot do it. But in Android, it is possible. Suppose you have built a software and one feature I like it. I don't have to build a feature once again. I can just pick that feature using my software. Now, are you people aware of Google Maps? Google Maps? Okay. Why do you use Google Maps? What is the purpose of using Google Maps? I'm not able to hear. If you have used Google Maps, for what purpose did you use Google Maps? For watching movies? Pardon me? Yes. Google Maps is used for searching areas, locations. Today morning when I was coming here, I went to Google Maps and I found out how to come to this college. How many kilometers, this college is. So this way, before the place, I will come to know where the place is, how do I go there. And this is very powerful feature, right? So now, for my Android cell phone, I want to build a software for BP patients. Now, you must be all aware, BP is a very common disease, so you all must be aware. For BP people, it is advised that they go for walking. They have to walk a lot. So I want to make a software where if you on the software they walk, the phone should show them how many kilometers they have walked. So they'll come to know I have walked 2 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Plus just show the area also where they have walked. But to do this, I need a map because I want to show the area. So if I have to build a map right from the scratch, it's almost impossible for me. But I can do it now in Android. What you can do is, in Android, you already have the feature of maps. You don't have to build the maps. You just pick that map, put inside your software, and use it. So this way, any software, you can pick up one picture, put inside a software, use it. There are people, as I told earlier, there are kids who build software. What they do, they take 4 or 5 software, pick one feature from it, put them together, sell it. So put them together, you don't have to write any program also. Just pick it, build it, sell it. So your application framework allows you to do that, to share the resources. Developers have full access to the same framework API used by core applications. Users are allowed to replace components. As just now said, you have full access to all the resources from the core APIs. Now, in other operating systems, take for example Windows operating system, whatever access Windows features have, you will not have, you cannot modify. But in Android, you have access to almost every feature of your cell phone. Coming to your features of Android, view system. Used to build an application including lists, grids, text boxes, buttons, and embedded web browsers. Content providers enabling applications to access data from other applications or to share their own data. View systems. As in Java, you have got AWT, or as in C++, you have graphics library. You have components there. In Java, you have got buttons, text boxes, or dotted also you have. So those things you have here in something called a view system. Then we have something called a content provider. Content provider allows us to share resources between multiple applications. Then we have a resource manager. If I want to access resources such as videos captured from a cell phone, or audio clips captured from a cell phone, or any other feature of a cell phone, I can do it using resource manager. Notification manager is the best example of the alarm clock. Say for example, in Android, I want to build a software such that I will, for one, feed all my friends' names, their birthday dates, and I want a software such that whenever their birthday is there, it should automatically notify me, pick a message and send them. This can be done with the help of something called as notification manager. Then we have something called as activity manager. Activity manager is nothing but something which manages the entire life cycle of your Android application. Coming to the libraries of Android, including a set of C or C++ libraries used by components of Android system exposed to developers through Android application framework. These are the libraries provided to us by Android operating system. We will go into more detail later on in the next session. But one important library is something called as SQLite. You are all aware of SQL, right? Structured Query Language. You learned SQL, database, DBMS. How guys? Who has learned DBMS, database, SQL? Learning, right? Say yes, no? Yes. Okay. Android is the only operating system which comes built with the database, and that too a powerful database called SQL. Even the Windows operating system on the computer doesn't come built with the database, but Android itself comes built with the database. So whatever queries you write in your computer, select start from table name, insert to table, all those queries you can execute them on your Android cell phone, and it is possible because of the library called as SQLite. So since we have this database SQLite, as I told in the beginning, you can build all database applications here. If I want to build a software for maybe clinic management, now doctors, instead of building a software on a computer, doctor cannot carry computer everywhere in operation theater, in every consulting room. I can build him a software clinic management on an Android cell phone. So all his data will be present in SQL software. Next slide. Next is Android runtime, which contains two components. This is core library and dynamic virtual machine. Core libraries providing most of the functionality available in the core libraries of Java language API. Data structures, utilities, file access, network access, traffic, and etc. Core libraries are the basic libraries of any programming language, like IO, input and output, or .NET for networking, or .Math for mathematics. So all these basic libraries are provided to us by the core library. Next we have dynamic virtual machine. Dynamic virtual machine, or we also call it as DVM, providing environment on which every Android application runs. Each Android application runs in its own process with its own instance of dynamic virtual machine. Dynamic has been written such that a device can run multiple virtual machines. Firstly written by Dan Burston, who named it after a fishing village of Dynamic in Iceland. Now as we have JVM, Java Virtual Machine for Java, we have something called as Dynamic Virtual Machine for Android application. So what Dynamic Virtual Machine does is, they will allow you to compile your programs and to execute your programs. Dynamic Virtual Machine was written by a person called as Dan Burston. And why it is called as Dynamic Virtual Machine? Because Dynamic was the name of the village from where he used to come, that is, village in Iceland. So he was the man who used to stay in a village called as Dalvik in Iceland. So when he built his own software, when he built his own virtual machine, he named it as Dalvik Virtual Machine. So maybe after you pass out your BCA, you people will build your own virtual machine, and you will call it as nidasoshi virtual machine. You want to do it? Yes or no? Yes. Dynamic virtual machine, DVM, executing a dynamic executable or .dx format. DX format is optimized for minimal memory footprint. So, as we know, cell phones have limited memory. Therefore, it has been optimized for minimal memory use. So what happens in dynamic virtual machine? We compile our Java program. Once we compile it gets converted to class files. You will have used compile Java programs using JVM. How do you compile Java programs? What command do you use? Java C. Yes. After compiling, what happens? It gets converted to what? Bytecode, that's right. It gets converted to bytecode. It forms a file called as .class file, and it gets converted to bytecode. And that bytecode is equal to the class file. So up to here it is same as a normal Java. But what happens later is, when executed, it gets converted to .dx file, which is nothing but the executable file of your Android platform. Running on Linux kernel for threading and low-level memory management. Someone tell me what is the threading? Little louder, I can hear you. One of you, little louder. You can. Lightweight process, okay. From my voice. Ready? Or someone tell you why you use multi-threading? When you want to execute multiple components of a program, you make use of multi-threading. Okay. Now, forgetting about this multi-threading of computers. You know, there is one real-life examples of multi-threading. Can anyone give me that? Real example of multi-threading. I don't know how this name, multi-threading came into existence, but what I feel or what I assume is multi-threading has come from an age-old, game or a show what we used to watch. You have watched puppet show, Kathakali, what you call it, where they tie threads to their hands, legs, and they move the threads, and that puppet starts dancing. So multi-threading is exactly the same. You have one program which has got multiple components, and you have a thread associated with each component, and you make all the thread execute to make your program look as if it is dancing or executing. Low level memory management, as we already discussed, Linux always uses very low memory. So same management has been used by your Android. Linux kernel. We have already discussed about kernel. Kernel is a middleware which is acting in between the hardware and the software or the front end of your computer. And kernel contains memory and process management, network stack, driver models, security, and as told, providing an abstraction layer between hardware and rest of the software stack. So kernel contains drivers most of the time, and we already discussed Wi-Fi drivers, camera drivers. So a piece of software which executes or operates or communicates with this hardware is called as Wi-Fi, is called as a Wi-Fi driver. So this set of drivers put together is called as a kernel. Now this kernel is already freely available on internet. You people also, what you can do is you can go to internet, download this kernel, and this kernel is purely DOS based, text based. So what you can do is you can design your own front end for it. Front end you can build using C++, you can build using Java, whatever language, and you can build your own operating system also. Because the most important part of operating system is taken care by the kernel. What you are doing is you are building the front end part of it. And same thing has been done by your Android computers. Now, we discussed so much about Android here. We discussed about the stack, why it's important, all those things. But what happened, as discussed earlier, no one had thought that Android will become so popular. And that too, all of a sudden, 2-3 years ago, a company whose market share was hardly 9%. Now, their share is 47%. So no one took Android seriously those days. And what happened now is, Android has grown so much, and there's a shortage of people to operate Android. Shortage of people to build software for Android. Because no one had thought Android would become so popular. No one had thought, they had thought Android is just like any other operating system. How the cell phones are working, they are also working same way. All of a sudden, everyone is starting demanding applications on Android. Every bank, maybe Axis Bank, SBI. Now they have banking software for Android phones. Every popular game, now they are available on Android phones. So there's so huge demand for Android developers that we are not able to fulfill it. Because if we knew that Android is going to come and Android is going to bring such a big revolution, still it just not started. We have prepared ourselves earlier, but we are not prepared. Today, there's so much demand. If I go in the market, I don't have experience, but I know how to build Android application. I have appointment in my hands. There are people waiting in a queue who are masters in Java, masters in .NET, and this last 2 years they are not running from company to company without a job. Why? Because for Java, for .NET, there are hundreds of people. But for Android, there are no people. Not just that, there is also a shortage of people who are teaching Android. Now, if I want to learn Android, there are not many places. If I go to Belgaum, not a single institute, including our own, no one teaches Android well. If I go to Bangalore, there are selected 3 or 4 institutions in entire Bangalore who are teaching Android, and if they are teaching also, they are charging very high rates. And there is so much demand for Android. And at the other end, look at the West. In Western countries, 8 standard guys, 7 standard children, 10 standard children, they are building software for Android and making the pocket money. Because Android is so simple, and you don't have to be a genius to build a big software. Even as I give an example, you can build a software which is a collection of messages, collection of jokes, and send it online, and those kids are doing it. So, the reason behind me coming here and explaining you this entire concept of Android is for you to prepare well in advance. Now, within 6 months, within a year, you will be out of the college. So, you should be well aware of the technologies or current affairs which is going on today. For example, tomorrow you get a campus interview in a college, and the interviewer asks you, Java belongs to which company? You don't know. He asks you, James was the dead or alive? We don't know. So with this kind of knowledge, how are you going to go in the market? How are you going to face an interview? If I go out and for an interview will ask me, it's a very common question. Why should I give you a job? Because I am 90% BCA, I am 91% BCA,